Hello everybody, you're tuned into Cragcore. It's been a while since we've done a car one, so I thought I'd just treat you. So, today we're going to be talking about the vaccine passports. Now, we were told not so long ago that these things weren't going to happen. Well, guess what? The government lied. Big surprise. The government fucking lied. Because now here in the UK, they're bringing them in if you want to go to a nightclub, if you want to go to football matches and all of this shit. Football players are being told they have to be double jabbed if they want to continue playing and stuff like this. So, you know, if you want to go to a nightclub and have a good time, you've got to be able to prove that you've had 2 injections. This is happening, people. This is happening. Where's it going to end? That's my question. Where does this end? Because if you allow this to happen right now, if you're a business owner and you allow this to happen, if you stop people entering your place of business based on their vaccine status, well, you are basically setting a precedent for the rest of, you know, our futures. Because ultimately, when people allow this to happen, what they're doing is saying, okay, we're okay with being told that we can't do things on the basis of a vaccine status. Now, ultimately, that's the long and short of it. It doesn't matter that it's just a nightclub. It doesn't matter that it's just a football game. What you're saying is, on the whole, you're okay with being told what you can and cannot do based on whether or not you've had 2 vaccines. That's literally what you're saying. So ultimately, you've now opened the floodgates to allow these people, these fucking dictators, to basically turn around to you and say, okay, well, now you can't go and shop for food unless you've had these 2 vaccines. Now you have to go into a supermarket and show your vaccine passport to buy food. And then what's it going to be? Now you need to show that you've got a vaccine passport. You've got to show your vaccine passport and prove that you've had 2 vaccines in order to go to work. Oh, and by the way, you also need to show it to be eligible for having electricity and clean water and, you know, all of these different things that we are used to and basically take for granted, our civil liberties in life. You're going to be told, well, you know, unless you've had 2 vaccines, you can't have it. And it all started with step number 1. It all basically started at the very fucking beginning when you were told that you had to stop people coming into your business if they didn't have 2 jabs. And it's as simple as that. So now is the time to stand up and say no. Now is the time to say, fuck all of this. I'm not going to exert this dictatorship power over my fellow man. Right now, I'm going to stand firm and I'm going to say, actually, I'm not going to side with the enemy. Right now, I'm not going to be doing illegal things against my fellow man. In fact, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be a humane person and allow people to make their own choice with their own free will over what it is they put in their body, and I'm not going to impede their lifestyles because of it. Because if there are certain people that have been vaccinated, well, then they no longer need to be worried about those that haven't been vaccinated. Is that not the case? Because I'm going to finish on this. When you were at school, you likely had a vaccination against certain things like tuberculosis and these types of things. Measles, mumps, all of these things. So, once you'd had that vaccination, were you then worried about being around somebody that had measles? Probably not. Were you worried about being around somebody that had tuberculosis? Probably not. Well, that's because you've been vaccinated against it, which means you are now protected against it. That is the case with vaccines, is it not? You are now protected against that which you have been vaccinated for. So, with regards to this vaccine, if you've had your vaccine, if you've had your double shot, and you're now in your maximum protection mode, do you then need to be worried about somebody that's not had it? Ask yourself that question, because if you are still worried, then perhaps you need to question the vaccine itself. And if you then do question the vaccine itself, well, then you need to ask yourself another question. Number one, why did you take it in the first place? And you need to then question the motives behind the people that are forcing you to get it. And you have to ask yourself, why did you get it? Was it because of fear? Perhaps deep down you know that you only took this because you were told to. Perhaps deep down you know that you took it under false pretenses. Perhaps you're not willing to accept within yourself that you've been lied to, and you went against your own common sense, and ultimately what you're doing now is living in denial. If that's the case, then well, that's okay. Look, it's better to acknowledge it right now than to keep pushing everybody else into the same hole that you're in. Because that only ever leads one way, and that's into a totalitarian dictatorship, which is where we're headed right now. So come on, let's stand firm and let's fight back. If you're a business owner, remember, you don't have the right to stop people coming into your business based on what the governments say about a fucking vaccine. Especially when you now acknowledge and are able to see that if somebody's been vaccinated, they don't need to worry about those that haven't, because they're protected. So what other point would there be for stopping people going into somewhere that they want to go into for not having a vaccine, unless it's about coercion, unless it's about power and exerting power over the people and then forcing them into getting a vaccine in order for them to be able to go about their normal lives? And if these people want to force you into getting it, well then let me tell you this, their motives are only ever going to be negative, because these people themselves are negative people. And on that point, I'm going to leave it here. This is Craig Course signing off. I'm going to wish love and peace to all things everywhere. Peace.